we've got the latest February 2025 job report that came out from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and there's some things here to unpack. The quick takeaway, though, is job growth is steady, but there's some shifts happening that's really key here. It's really key to this video is what we're going to talk about, what's happening under the surface. We're going to see a pretty clear departure for this Trump administration versus what we've seen under the Biden-Harris administration, and probably maybe some throwback to Trump's earlier first term as president. So let's break it down. First, we got the basics. 151,000 jobs were added. That's a bit below expectation. I think some analysts had it pegged it at 158. Some pegged it at 160. We're going to go with 160, so we fell a little bit below that. As a result, unemployment ticked up 0.1%, so it was flat at 4 in January, looking at about a 4.1 now. Real wages grew 0.3%. That's a solid growth. So if you go year over year, but it's still underneath those expectations of 4.2% that the analysts pegged that number to be. The biggest hiring sectors with healthcare, retail, and social assistance, but there were some revisions as well on the December and January jobs report. If you add those 2 months total, the revisions were adjusted downwards by about 2,000 jobs total. So overall, we got a cool but stable labor market. These aren't numbers that would set the world on fire. You don't want to continue to see these types of numbers if you're in the Trump administration, but there's some things here that are going to be interesting that we're going to show some insight into what perhaps the next 4 years could look like, certainly as it relates to Biden and Harris the past 4 years.
Big gains for native-born Americans for the first time in 15 months. The job gains for native-born Americans, for American people born in America, exceeded job gains for migrant and foreign-born workers. This is the first time that's happened in more than 15 months. Employment for native-born workers went up by 284,000, while foreign-born workers went down by 87,000.
So already we see a Trump versus Biden job trend shift here. If we go off what President Trump was saying, if we look at who's getting these jobs and where they're coming from. So as he said, native-born Americans gained about 284,000 jobs in February. Foreign workers lost about 87,000 jobs. That's the first time it's happened in 15 months. Is that job growth favored native workers, Americans, people born in America, right? As President Trump was saying. So, but what about this private versus public sector jobs? We're going to see another clear departure from way things were happening in the last few years to where they are now. So under Biden's economy, 31% of all total job growth came from government hiring. In February, we've seen that script completely flipped or completely thrown in the trash because only 3% of job gains were in the public sector or government jobs, while 97% were in the private sector. So this suggests a shift toward private sector-driven job growth under Trump, largely mirroring his first term as president. Reason why I wanted to pull this manufacturing out, because it's a key battleground economic policy. In fact, we use the manufacturing index in our consensus model. A lot of you guys follow us in 2024, and we run our models. Consensus was our economic sentiment model. It was the most accurate model we had. We had Trump winning the election on our November 2nd update by 1.5 points, and Trump won the election by 1.5 points. So it's very important. Economics, all the predicted variables, they are key to predicting elections, or at least interpreting how the electorate might respond or how they could possibly vote. So in Biden's late 2024 economy, manufacturing was losing roughly 9,000 jobs per month. But in February of this jobs report, the U.S. gained 10,000 manufacturing jobs. So they added 10,000 jobs on the tail end, or on the end of losing 9,000 jobs under the last few months of the Trump or the Biden administration. So this echoes pre-COVID trends where Trump's term, we saw roughly around between 11 and 12,000 jobs, closer to 12,000, more like 11,600 manufacturing jobs were added per month from 2017 to 2019 pre-COVID. So why are we seeing this shift? Well, it's tariffs and deregulations. They're refueling optimism, but it's just 1 month. We like the word optimism. We want to see all Americans do well. We don't want to see inflation high and unemployment high. We want to see jobs. We want American families to have real disposable income and consumer confidence up. We want companies to feel comfortable hiring and investing in their workforce and so on and so forth. We want to see this ripple effect, and it comes with a vibrant, healthy manufacturing sector. but it is still a little too soon to call it a trend at this point. I think we're getting a peek into the direction in which the economy is going to go under the Trump administration. It shouldn't be all that surprising considering what he campaigned on. And then, of course, we do have his first term as sort of a blueprint. Another thing we can glean from this jobs report is job quality. So we have more jobs or better pay. That's the question. A big question. People they get caught up in these numbers that come out 185,000 jobs per month, et cetera. We're going to talk about that. So, are these new jobs actually paying more? So, under Biden from 2021 to 2024, your average job growth was around 185,000 jobs per month. But many of those jobs, a large third of those jobs, were low-wage service jobs. So, as a result of that, real wages barely grew 1% since 2019. That's certainly not great in any environment, but it's certainly not great when we had years of inflation. We had gasoline prices, rent is up, your interest rate on your mortgage goes up. There's a lot of things that just eat into that, and 1% wage growth is anemic. It might as well be zero. It might as well be a negative number when you bring in all the other economic factors that was sort of weighing down the American consumer and the American worker. So the big picture is what's next? Well, the U.S. labor market, it remains resilient, but there are certainly challenges ahead. We're dealing with global slowdowns in China and the Eurozone. That could impact U.S. growth. However, federal spending cuts and policy shifts, that's a wild card for hiring. It looks like Trump is trying to insulate the U.S. in some degree, as much as you can in a globalized economy, to bring reshoring back, to invest in automation, AI, revamp our trade policy. All this will shape the job market in the months ahead. So the bottom line is February's numbers, they show stability, but there are clear signs of change from the last 4 years, and we're maybe a repeat, and this is Trump Act 2, maybe just picking up where he left off in his first term, where the economy was very robust, healthy numbers, low inflation. Trump had pretty high approval ratings when it comes to handling the economy, plus 11, plus 14, plus 16 in some polls if you go back and look at his first term in office. But what we need to look for is, watch for next month's data to see if these trends hold. And certainly we're going to look at the end of Q2 and the end of Q3, and then we'll have enough data points where we could say, hey, the economy is recovering. There is a resurgence of American investments. The jobs are being filled. Trump has got his direction and he's moving the country in the right path. Maybe there's going to be some pressure on inflation. The Fed will have to act, and the inflation numbers want to get to that 2% target that the Fed considers a good and healthy number, and rightfully so. But we'll see where this goes. If you look at some of the recent polling in Trump, when it comes to the economy, he's underwhelming in that regard. Some polls have him as a negative in handling the economy. Some voters say Trump's not doing enough about the economy, and then some polls have him up a few points in the economy. I can tell you that I think we've polled it twice, and we had him up about 4 or 5 points on handling the economy, which is not where he wants to be. He needs that number above 10, preferably around 15, much like it was during his first term. So let us know in the comments, do you think Trump's policies are going to sustain job growth, or is this a short-term bump? Is there just too much out there, too much uncertainty to speculate either way? But if you did like the video and you found the information useful, please hit like and subscribe for more real-time analysis when it comes to economics and politics. And we'll see you next time. Bye.